So whistle while you work.
You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
I feel so lucky that I got to play something that is so far from what I know and what I'm used to, and I super enjoyed every second of it.
The Snow White fairy tale is about to be reignited, but not without a fiery battle brewing between two rival adaptations. Disney's modern take on the classic story is facing intense scrutiny, while the Daily Wire's traditional approach has garnered widespread support. Join us as we will dive into the heart of the controversy, comparing and contrasting the creative decisions made by both productions and analyzing the potential impact on audiences. Get ready for a clash of cinematic titans as we explore the future of Snow White. Will Disney's modern twist on Snow White be a fairy tale success or a modern-day flop? Only time will tell. A modern Snow White. Disney's live-action Snow White trailer dropped at D23 like a fairy tale bomb. While some Disney fans show unwavering support and excitement for the remake, the release of the trailer also sparked a huge debate and conversations about representation, diversity, and the delicate balance between staying true to classic tales and modernizing them for a new generation. Rachel Zegler, a rising star in Hollywood, known for her breakout role as Maria in the 2021 film adaptation of West Side Story, takes on the role of Snow White, while Gal Gadot, the famous Wonder Woman, plays the wickedly glorious evil queen. But will this casting choice make the movie a blockbuster, or will it be a bite of a poisonous apple for the viewers? Despite Zegler's relentless talent and beauty, people find the choice of giving a Latina actress a role that originally has German roots absurd. Just when it seemed like Disney was poised for another fairy tale triumph, the 7 CGI dwarfs made their appearance in the trailer, and Rachel Zegler dropped a bombshell. They were changing the story. The internet collectively lost its mind. Backlash ensued, and Zegler was caught in the crossfire. Instead of basking in the glow of Disney magic, she found herself at the center of an online storm that was only getting worse. And what was meant to be a brave new direction for the classic tale turned out to be a misstep that would haunt the film for years to come. Disney's 2024 remake of Snow White has ignited a spirited debate that reflects deeper tensions about tradition and progress. How does the updated portrayal of Snow White, with her newfound independence and leadership, resonate with today's audience? Is this reimagining a bold step forward or a departure from the classic's heart? As the film blends modern values with a timeless tale, it raises questions about the balance between honoring the past and embracing change. The new Snow White, played by Rachel Zegler, emerges as a dynamic figure far removed from the passive character of the 1937 original. She's not just waiting for a prince to save her. She's out there fighting for justice and reclaiming her kingdom. But does this transformation enhance the story, or does it dilute the fairy tale magic that generations have cherished? How do viewers reconcile this empowered heroine with the nostalgic simplicity of the original? Disney's choice to cast actors of diverse backgrounds as the Seven Dwarfs reflects a modern commitment to representation. Yet this decision has sparked controversy. Does this diversity enrich the story, or does it risk reducing the dwarfs to mere symbols rather than fully developed characters? And what about the film's depiction of the evil queen, who is given a more complex backstory? Is this nuanced approach a thoughtful addition, or does it disrupt the clear-cut morality that defined the classic tale? The soundtrack of the remake, featuring a mix of original compositions and contemporary music, also provokes mixed feelings. Does this blend of old and new resonate with today's audiences, or does it clash with the nostalgic elements that fans hold dear? In modernizing Snow White, Disney has both honored and reinterpreted a classic story. But this has led to a broader debate about the nature of storytelling and cultural representation. As audiences grapple with these updates, they must ask, what should remain sacred in classic tales, and what can be reimagined to reflect the values of today's world? The film's reception underscores the challenge of balancing respect for tradition with the need for contemporary relevance. Rachel Zegler and the social media outrage. At D23 2024, Rachel Zegler stepped into the spotlight to reveal her much-anticipated Snow White remake. She hoped to charm both critics and fans with the new trailer, but instead of the fairy tale magic she'd hoped for, she was hit with a storm of social media backlash. The trailer showcased Gal Gadot as the stunningly wicked evil queen and introduced the much-discussed CGI dwarfs. Instead of winning people over, the presentation seemed to spark more frustration than excitement. The reactions came fast and furious, with many viewers expressing their disappointment and criticism, overshadowing the film's big reveal. But the drama didn't end there. Amidst the wave of negativity surrounding Snow White, one particularly vile troll crossed a serious line by suggesting that someone should end Rachel Zegler's life. Twitter quickly removed the post for violating its guidelines, but not before Zegler saw it. With a comeback worthy of Broadway, she responded with a tweet that read, "Fun fact, I'll be dying 8 times a week on Broadway this fall. Get your tickets, Lee." And just to add a cherry on top, Zegler will also star alongside heartstopper heartthrob Kit Connor in the upcoming revival of Romeo and Juliet. So while the social media storm raged on, Zegler was busy gearing up for a major stage presence. Zegler's fans quickly rallied around her in the wake of the intense backlash, flooding her social media feeds with messages of love and virtual hugs. Many fans hailed her as a champion, while others encouraged her to never stop being you. It was evident that despite the storm of criticism, Zegler had a devoted support network backing her up. However, the animosity towards Zegler wasn't something that had sprung up overnight. It was a response that had been building over time. The negative sentiment had reached such a crescendo that it even began to make headlines on news channels where discussions about her supposedly insufferable attitude became a topic of conversation. As the criticism continued to pour in, Zegler's supporters stood resolute, offering their encouragement and showing that she had a strong and unwavering fan base behind her. When Disney dropped the bombshell in 2021 that Rachel Zegler would be donning the crown as Snow White, the internet's reaction was a collective gasp. Instead of celebrating this bold new take on a classic, some critics unleashed a wave of trolling. The backlash focused on Zegler's ethnicity, arguing that a princess with skin as white as snow should look, well, whiter. In the 21st century, it seems that a touch of diversity in fairy tales is still a bridge too far for some. The online uproar was as fierce as the evil queen's envy, with critics fixated on Zegler's Polish-Colombian background rather than her undeniable talent. Detractors questioned why an actress of Latin descent would be cast in a role that's been a Disney staple since 1937, exposing a lingering resistance to change in even the most magical of stories. But Zegler wasn't about to let the trolls ruin her moment in the spotlight. With a mix of grace and sass, she took to X, formerly Twitter, to silence the haters. She posted a throwback photo of herself as a little girl dressed as Snow White, paired with the playful yet defiant caption, "I really truly do not want to see it." This royal response not only showcased her lifelong connection to the iconic character, but also served as a charming reminder that she's been embodying the spirit of Snow White long before she was cast. Clearly, this queen was born to rule, and her clapback proved that she's every bit the princess Disney knew she was, ready to face any challenge with a smile. Later, Zegler shared a touching message, hoping that every child who sees her as Snow White will believe they can be a princess too. While her words were heartwarming, they didn't completely silence the critics. Many people felt that Zegler's version of Snow White was too woke, especially after she explained that the story was updated because the old-fashioned Prince Charming trope felt outdated. This new Snow White is a far cry from the classic damsel in distress. Gone are the days of waiting for a prince's kiss. This Snow White is all about taking charge, wielding power, and dreaming of leadership rather than just true love. Zegler fully embraced her role as a feminist icon, framing this updated Snow White as a symbol of modern female strength and independence. While some people applaud this fresh take, others feel it strays too far from the original fairy tale, sparking a lively debate about tradition versus modern values in storytelling. If you thought the evil queen's jealousy was intense, it's nothing compared to the backlash that erupted after the announcement. Social media exploded with cries of "too woke," and anti-woke accounts, along with conservative media outlets like the Daily Wire, sharpened their pitchforks. They even declared their intention to produce their own version of Snow White, promising a story that would stick to the traditional values of the original. Despite the growing criticism, Zegler and Gadot remain unbothered and unapologetic. They weren't just reimagining a classic, they were rewriting the rules. Both actresses stood firm in their vision. even as the drama surrounding Disney's new Snow White continued to heat up. The situation reached a fever pitch recently when Rachel Zegler let slip that she considered Prince Charming to be a creepy stalker and hinted that his scenes might be cut altogether. This revelation set the internet ablaze, fueling further controversy and debate about the direction of Disney's beloved fairy tale. From this point on, the online outrage went into overdrive. Critics were quick to label Zegler as a walking PR disaster for Disney. On TikTok, user at Ruben Woodall gained over 1.3 million likes for his passionate critique of Disney's new direction. Woodall slammed the studio for trying to turn Snow White into a girl boss, arguing that the original tale wasn't about leadership or feminism. He questioned why every modern reimagining feels the need to place women in positions of power to be considered feminist, suggesting that this approach misses the essence of the classic story. The backlash intensified as more people weighed in, debating whether the updated Snow White was an empowering update or a misguided attempt to fit contemporary values into a timeless fairy tale. Disney's Snow White remake, a disgrace to the classic legacy? David Hahn, the son of the original 1937 Snow White animation director, didn't mince words when he weighed in on Disney's remake. In a candid interview with the Daily Telegraph, Hahn pulled no punches, slamming the reboot as a disgrace and accusing Disney of showing blatant disrespect for the classic film his father, David Hand, helped bring to life. Hahn's frustration is palpable. He feels that the remake's dramatic departures from the beloved original undermine its legacy. His criticism isn't just about minor tweaks. He's concerned that the new version's focus on modern themes like empowerment and leadership overshadows the core essence of the fairy tale that audiences have cherished for decades. This vocal criticism from Hahn highlights a broader struggle between honoring the past and embracing contemporary values. It underscores the challenge Disney faces as it attempts to navigate the fine line between respecting the classic and innovating for today's audience. Hahn's comments add a compelling layer to the debate, illustrating just how deeply the original Snow White resonates with those who have a personal and historical connection to the film. Among the loudest critics was Peter Dinklage, the Game of Thrones star who didn't hold back in his criticism. Dinklage's fiery comments during a 2022 interview on the WTF with Marc Maron podcast put Disney on the defensive. Speaking candidly, Dinklage, who has achondroplasia, a form of dwarfism, called out the studio for congratulating itself on casting Zegler as a Latina Snow White, while still perpetuating what he described as outdated and offensive portrayals of dwarfs. His critique sent the studio scrambling to manage the fallout and address the growing concerns about the representation in their live-action remake. Dinklage's harsh words sent shockwaves through Hollywood, forcing Disney into damage control mode. The studio quickly issued a statement announcing that they would be reevaluating their approach to the Seven Dwarfs. The goal was to avoid perpetuating the stereotypes that have plagued the original 1937 animated film. But let's be real, Disney had its work cut out for them. With backlash coming from all sides, the studio found itself in a tight spot, trying to balance the modernization of a beloved classic with the complex demands of representation in 2024. Navigating this minefield was no easy task, and it was clear that the path forward would be fraught with challenges as Disney worked to address both the concerns of critics and the expectations of modern audiences. Whether Disney's revised approach will manage to win over critics like Dinklage or merely deepen the controversy remains to be seen. One thing's for sure, this remake has already generated more drama than any fairy tale could ever have anticipated. With all the twists and turns, the story of this Snow White reboot has become a saga in its own right, leaving audiences and industry watchers eagerly waiting to see how it all unfolds. Rachel Zegler's reaction to the Snow White trailer hitting screens was a whirlwind of emotions and controversy. Her passionate response reflected the intensity of the backlash and her commitment to defending her role and vision. It's fascinating to see how she's navigating the intersection of modern values and classic storytelling. Her version of Snow White, with its emphasis on empowerment and leadership, is a bold departure from the traditional portrayal, and it's clear that it's sparking significant debate. The fiery backlash against Disney's Snow White remake might just spell trouble for the film's success. With the controversy ignited by sharp critiques from figures like David Hahn and Peter Dinklage, the remake finds itself at the center of a heated debate that could profoundly impact its box office performance. Will the storm of outrage fuel curiosity, driving audiences to theaters just to see what all the fuss is about? Or will it turn potential viewers away, leaving the film struggling to connect with its audience? The intense drama surrounding the remake could become a double-edged sword. While the buzz might generate initial interest, the ongoing debate might overshadow the movie's merits, making it difficult for Disney to shift the focus back to the film itself. As the remake wades through this turbulent reception, it faces the challenge of balancing between provoking interest and avoiding alienation. The ultimate success of the film could hinge on whether it can weather the storm of controversy and win over audiences amidst the swirling chaos. Role of social media. Social media has transformed the Snow White remake controversy into a high-octane spectacle. Platforms like Twitter and TikTok have become battlegrounds where outrage and debate play out in real time, amplifying every critique and fueling the drama. Viral posts and trending hashtags have escalated the initial backlash into a full-blown frenzy, turning a creative update into a polarizing spectacle. The rapid spread of heated discussions on social media has created a snowball effect, with each viral tweet, TikTok video, or viral post intensifying the controversy. The digital landscape allows opinions to clash and arguments to rage at a breakneck pace, where the intensity of the backlash can reach unprecedented levels. This online uproar doesn't just generate buzz, it also influences public perception and can sway the film's success. As every new comment and viral video further fuels the fire, the conversation around Disney's remake grows louder and more divisive. Social media's role in magnifying and perpetuating controversies underscores its power to turn a film's release into a dramatic and highly charged event, shaping audience reactions and potentially impacting the film's box office performance. What are your thoughts on Zegler's take on the iconic princess? Do you think the changes enhance the story or stray too far from the classic? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.